One Zambia, One Nation, and welcome to Zanis News. We look at the top stories in the news. 2,000 miners in Central Province laid off. Government held donor support to poverty reduction. USAID hands over 6 million kwacha solar water system to Kasama village. Plus, farmers advised to start early preparations. Well, with the main news in detail, my name is Margaret Kangwa and my sign language interpreter is Imelda Mulea. Now, over 2,300 mine workers have been laid off by 15 manganese processors operating in 3 districts in Central Province following the withdrawal of power supply to the mining firms for failure to pay premium cost to the power utility. However, Mine Contractors Allied Workers Union President Nkweto Kasonka says ZESCO curtailed power supply to the companies due to reduced power generation following the depletion water levels at Kariba Dam. Shupekile Nkunika reports that Mr. Kasonka has since announced that a mining processors stakeholders meeting has been scheduled with Central Province Permanent Secretary Meuna Mwanakampwe.
Over 2,000 mine workers have lost their jobs following the withdrawal of power supply by ZESCO, citing failure to pay premium prices for electricity by manganese processors in Pensulo area of Serenje district. Central Province Permanent Secretary Meuna Mwanakampwe has engaged the manganese processors who are planning to declare more employees redundant, claiming they cannot retain a high employment level.
This is not by force or not our intention. And we force to leave or go for the redundancy.
The employees are planning to protest against ZESCO for what they term unfair distribution of power.
Against ZESCO's failure or unfair distribution of power. Here we are losing employment. Our colleagues somewhere, they are working.
Is the illegal export of manganese that is about to erupt in this district if power is not restored.
Dr. Mwanakampwe has called for an establishment of a steering committee to find means of addressing the concerns.
Resolving issues this way, by sitting down, moving from one office to another, is an issue that will help us. And that way, you provide leadership to your members. And so we would request that from yourselves, President, the processors, we come up with who should join my team leader here. Without pointing fingers at each other, we just say, can we move now as a team and resolve this matter?
Serenje District Commissioner Paul Masua wants the matter resolved before more people lose their jobs.
We should strike a win-win situation so that our people are not thrown into abject poverty.
Shupekile Nkunika for Zanis in Serenje.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Garin Kombo, says creating and sustaining a clean, green and healthy environment is a shared responsibility between the general public, other stakeholders and government. Mr. Nkombo says the government has developed all the necessary legal and regulatory framework to create a clean, healthy and sustainable environment that now requires other players to participate. The minister was speaking today during the launch of the Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Health Communication Strategy for 2024 to 2028. We have more in this report.
Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development has launched the Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy Communication Strategy. Among the objectives of the communication strategy is to increase knowledge on cleanliness and best hygiene practices among citizens as well as promote behavioral change.
Creating a sustainable, clean, green and healthy environment is a mutually shared responsibility between citizens and also non-state actors, as well as government. In this regard, government through the ministry that I'm privileged to run, the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, has developed the necessary legal regulatory framework to create a clean, healthy, as well as sustainable environment. Government having done its part, citizens in respective communities are also expected to play their part. And they also have the responsibility of adhering to the best practices, regulations for solid waste management, including the disposal of waste.
The communication strategy, which will run from 2024 to 2028, is important as it will play a vital role in raising awareness among our citizens on the importance of a clean, green, and healthy environment. It will also endeavor to promote behavior change.
Governments cooperating partners have this to share.
As we work towards promoting the well-being of the community members we are serving through having a clean, green, and healthy environment, this strategy provides a structured communication framework that will promote positive behavior change as well as reduce on knowledge gaps that have existed in the past as the program was being implemented.
The Keep Zambia Green and Health Communication Strategy is the one we are waiting for very eagerly, because this strategy will be the important guiding principle to our organization to contribute to the Zambia. As all of us are aware, clean is crucial to the health and well-being of people living in Zambia.
The communication strategy will serve as a guide to all stakeholders involved in keeping Zambia clean, green, and healthy. Shilika Chavalingula for Zanis in Lusaka.
Now, Minister of Finance Situmbeko Musokotwani has re-emphasized government's resolve to reduce poverty and improve the welfare of citizens in the country. And speaking when he launched the Living Conditions Monitoring Survey and Child Poverty Reports in Lusaka today, Dr. Musokotwani said the 2022 data will help government to better roll out social protection programs such as the Social Cash Transfer, Food Security Pack, among others. He said this in a speech read on his behalf by Ministry of Finance, Acting Permanent Secretary in charge of Planning and Finance, Lois Mulube. Dr. Musokotwani also thanked the cooperating partners for their financial and technical support to Zambia Statistics Agency. And Zambia Statistics Agency Statistician General Goodson Siyinga says the survey had the full representation of the entire country and that it is the 8th one since the first was conducted in 1996. And WB Country Manager Akim Falk promised the WB's continued support to Zambia Statistics Agency for it to continue conducting surveys to obtain quality data. And UN Country Resident Coordinator Beatrice Mutali, in a speech read on her behalf by UNICEF Zambia Country Representative Penelope Campbell, welcomed the 2022 Child Poverty Report, saying it will help the country to drive the economy.
You may wish to note that the 2022 LCMS results also include a component on child poverty, which we were just shown earlier on in the presentations. And this is an enhancement that will shed more light on the well-being of children in Zambia. In this regard, I wish to re-emphasize that the priority of government is to reduce the levels of poverty and improve the welfare of our citizens. The 2022 LCMS results, which ZamStats has shared with us today, will assist the government in formulating, designing, and implementing evidence-based policies. Consequently, this will help the government achieve its desire of delivering equitable development across the country.
The report we're disseminating today belongs to the cross-section of family of the living conditions surveys. This is the 8th survey that we are disseminating today. The first was done in 1996, and as the program director indicated, the last one was done in 2015 using a cross-sectional design.
We very much congratulate the Zambia Statistics Agency for all the commitment and hard work for producing and disseminating high-quality statistics. These are foundational prerequisites to support evidence-based policy making that this current administration is pursuing. We acknowledge and also like to thank development partners, including the UN, Sweden, and others who have collaborated on these processes, as well as supporting some stats and others for improving statistics and data and information in Zambia. I think these are important foundations for our cooperation in Zambia to achieve our development objectives.
And now, the Ministry of Health says lack of vital nutrients has become a common problem among children in Zambia. And Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, is confident that the ministry will learn from the evaluation of Zambia's nutrition programs under the Scaling Up Nutrition Program. The minister, who was represented by her Permanent Secretary for Technical Services, Kennedy Lishimpi, was speaking during the launch of the National Food and Nutrition Commission National Dissemination Forum on findings from various surveys and assessments conducted. Kasweka Sakaimbo brings us the details.
This is the official launch of the National Nutrition Dissemination Forum, aimed at disseminating several findings from the National Food and Nutrition Commission, NFNC. The forum also aims at publicizing midline survey, assessments and reviews conducted under the Scaling Up Nutrition SUNLI project, meant to enhance learning and evaluation of Zambia's nutrition programs under the Scaling Up Nutrition Phase 2 program. Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo, in a speech read for her by Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Technical Services, Dr. Kennedy Lishimpi, said the Scaling Up Nutrition Midland Survey is aimed at analyzing data for improved policy and implementation.
When the country is experiencing the negative effects of the prolonged drought, which has been declared an emergency and a disaster situation by His Excellency the Republican President Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. The drought situation is likely to put the affected districts at risk of increased cases of severe malnutrition due to not having enough food to meet the recommended daily dietary requirements of the populations. Currently, Zambia is struggling with a triple burden of nutrition aspects. Following these studies, the following are the key food consumption findings. Micronutrient deficiencies, including those of iron, vitamin A, and iodine, are common among children in Zambia. A SMART survey was also held to give an indication of where the risks for malnutrition was likely to be due to the disaster situation and inform anticipatory actions during this learn period in the affected areas.
Cooperating partners also revealed that the Midland Survey findings play a crucial role in reviewing policies, while the United States government revealed its additional $34 million United States dollars support to Zambia.
Our efforts, including the recent micronutrient survey and the Scaling Up Nutrition 2 program, aim to reduce stunting and address micronutrient deficiencies. In 2018, Sweden supported the Zambian government in assessing micronutrient deficiencies, filling gaps since the last national survey in 2003. Today, we are proud to share the findings of this crucial study, enabling stakeholders to make informed decisions for better nutrition.
USAID will invest an additional $34 million to support private sector solutions for making improved seeds, soil nutrition, and affordable fortified foods available to rural communities.
NFNC Executive Director Muntanga Mapani thanked cooperating partners for the support given to the Scaling Up Nutrition program.
I want to thank government, especially the Ministry of Health and the Office of the Vice President, under which we fall as a commission, for providing strong leadership in coordination and implementation of nutrition actions. Ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to thank all our partners for the support they have given to nutrition sector, starting from MCDP Phase 1 through to MCDP Phase 2.
With a forum created for the national level stakeholders, implementers and cooperating partners to engage with the findings, it is hoped that action plans for program and policy improvement in nutrition will be formulated. Kasweka Sakaimbo reporting, Mulungushi Conference Center, Lusaka.
Well, and the German Corporation Zambia has embarked on nutritional awareness in schools through nutritional card game in 3 districts in Luapula province. The unique initiative aims at educating students about the nutritional value of local foods through an interactive approach. And GIZ Nutrition Communications Advisor, Given Liswaniso, said the awareness is being implemented in Wensday, Mwansavombwe and Kawambo districts. Lewis Changwe now reports.
In a bid to improve nutrition knowledge among young students, the German Corporation Zambia GIZ, in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, has embarked on nutrition awareness in schools through nutrition card games. In Mwansabombwe district, the initiative has been introduced in 8 secondary schools. GIZ National Communications Advisor, Given Liswaniso, explains the purpose of introducing the card games in schools.
We thought we could also initiate the nutrition card game into the learners through the Ministry of Education. And in collaboration with that, we managed to distribute the distribution of the nutrition card game in the selected schools to try and pilot the campaign of the same game.
Lia Kabaso is Senior Education Standards Officer for Luapula Province.
In all these schools, we have been orienting the learners on the importance of nutrition. We have also oriented the teachers that were available as well as the administrators. We are really thankful to GIZ for bringing this activity to our doorsteps, because the learners have learned on the importance of getting all the essential nutrients in the locally available foods.
The learners have welcomed the initiative.
We thank the GIZ for teaching us more about nutrition. This game is not going to end from here, but we are going to teach our fellow pupils as well.
I would like to thank the GIZ Zambia Funds Project for bringing this game called the Nutrition Card Game.
Lewis Changwe, Zanis, Mwansabombwe, Luapula Province.
Now, the Department of Community Development under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services has trained about 200 households in Chamfisa and Kabenja communities in Chingola district on the Copperbelt province in food processing and preservation. The initiative, which is being implemented under the Food Security Park program, is meant to enhance food security at households and community levels. Here is the report.
Increase food security and nutritional value in local communities, government through the Department of Community Development under the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services is implementing a food processing initiative, a component of the Food Security Park program, FSP, in Chimfinsa and Kambenja communities of Chingola district on the Copperbelt province. The training involves food preparation, processing, and preservation. The Department of Community Development is working with local nutritionists and agricultural officers to train the benefiting households.
I'm in Chimfinsa area called Seawork. We've combined Kambenja and Chimfinsa Seaworks. We are training them in food processing today. Food processing is a program among the FSP program, which we teach our beneficiaries how to preserve their food which they have harvested. This is why we are here, to teach them how to preserve, how to utilize, how to process, and how to feed their families at household level.
As you can see, we are carrying out a food processing program. Food processing program is a way of adding taste to the foods and also prolonging the shelf life of food.
The beneficiaries and community members have commended government for the training.
Kwa hii program nisambira pwefindi
nisambirapo efomfiro okusunga abaana nisambirapo efomfiro okusunga omwana uli olwele nutrition nga tali kumanya efyakulya bwino mukwai n'abatufunda ero chimbi nefo okutotera ku buteeko pali program mukwai bepera fya papeni basambirisheko nabandi ero chimbi echo natemwa sana pantu nasambira mwefingi sana so bapitirishe efifine bapitirishe okula tutontonkanye efifine ero chimbi ndetotera na pamufundo emulengere kaitwaisa ne program ndetotera na pamufundo batupere ndesengala abapala
ile fingi pali programu ili komumushiku bwa lero anasambirako pakwe bachi bashitata limotulalekhela fe bana mawe baleipika lero pali pabushiku bwa lero bashitata tuleipika natusambirira okutwa soya beans efo twinga panga sausage natusambirira fingi ine nali kale nshite itali nshatalapo kapo fertilizer lero pamulandu nolusolo akwalesa atotosha mwe buteko kwe bachi mwatupela uyu mufundo fwe bashare kumako so ine njuwa totela sana kabiri bakonkanyepo mukwaye.
Ian Chomba reporting for Zanis in Chingola.
We now take our first break. Still more to come. More news. Stay tuned.
The Issue is a program that looks at topical issues happening in the country. Watch The Issue every Friday at 19:30 hours, only on Zanis TV, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH on Topstar. Don't miss.
How I Made It is a program that delves into the many success stories of different people from all walks of life. Watch How I Made It on Zanis TV every Thursday at 18:30 hours on the Topstar channel, Channel 6 DTT and Channel 458 DTH.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. And our government says it is committed to ensuring that citizens living with the sickle cell disease in the country have access to medication and care for the effective management of their condition. And speaking during the first ever Zambia Sickle Cell Disease Symposium in Lusaka today, Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary for Donor Coordination, Kennedy Siangwe, highlighted that government has a robust country implementation plan that seeks to address the health, physical and social challenges that the disease poses to affected Zambians. Here is a report.
A ray of hope for people living with sickle cell disease in Africa, as stakeholders from across the continent have for the first time converged in Lusaka with an aim to establish collaborative efforts to conquer the disease. Various aspects of the disease, including diagnostics, clinical care, advocacy, research and education, and advanced therapies are being discussed and an action plan formulated for implementation. Minister of Health Permanent Secretary for Donor Coordination, Dr. Kennedy Siangwe, officiated at the symposium and explained that government prioritizes the care and management of the disease amongst its citizens who are affected by the disease and outlined government's interventions to this effect.
We've set up more units that have been trained and can now provide care to our sickle cell disease patients. We have additional clinical care guidelines for healthcare workers taking care of patients at primary health care levels. This has helped to standardize as well as provide a continuum of care from primary to tertiary level care. Hydroxyurea, a disease-modifying drug for sickle cell disease, is now a must to have drug. We must always have it in Zambia. By that I mean it's an essential drug.
Dr. Sinyangwe also made some assurances to citizens living with the sickle cell disease.
To the warriors, we've heard you. We know what the country needs. We know what you need. We know what the health system needs. We need to strengthen our diagnostics. We need to promote equity of access to treatments. We need strong support systems that increase understanding of the disease, thereby reducing stigma.
And Sickle Cell Disease Task Force Chair Dr. Chunda Lyoka expressed that the symposium is expected to develop the roadmap for the effective management of the disease across the continent.
The objectives of this symposium, as we have shared, are to provide a forum for our stakeholders to get to know each other, to form networks, to identify commonalities, to define new partnerships. We are also hoping at this symposium we'll be able to educate each other as policymakers, academia, the media, the community of sickle cell disease, and the resources that are available in Zambia and all these different countries that have joined us. Our expectation specifically at the end of this symposium is that we will have an increased awareness and knowledge about sickle cell disease interventions in line with international standards among high-level government leadership, policymakers, public health officials, and other stakeholders.
Sickle cell warrior Luimba Kasongo also thanked government for their efforts in the management of the disease in the country and asked that the efforts be extended to rural communities.
I'm here to tell you that patients have reported that hydroxyurea is now available in Choma and Wensday, which is a great step. It is not only available on Nima, but also for free. If it's Levi Mwanawasa General Hospital, it never runs out of stock.
The symposium is being held under the theme Conquering Sickle Cell, a Collaborative Quest. Sarah Miti reporting for Zanis and Osaka.
And now the completion of the Maternity Annex at Lubinga Rural Health Center under the 2023 Constituents Development Fund in Lavashimanda District in Muchinga Province has excited expectant mothers. And Muchinga Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Matthews Chilikwa, who inspected the maternity wing, appealed to residents to safeguard the facility. Pamela Inambel has the details.
This is the newly constructed Lubunga Maternity Annex at Lubunga Rural Health Center in Lavushmanda District in Muchinga Province, constructed at a cost of over 600,000 kwacha under the 2023 Constituency Development Fund. Expectant mothers here are grateful to government, saying once the facility is commissioned, they will be delivering in a conducive environment with privacy. We thank President Hakainde Hichilema for constructing this maternity annex here. The current room being used as labor ward is closer to the outpatient department, thereby compromising privacy. We thank government, and our appeal is that the facility should be equipped so that we start using it. And the Lubunga Rural Health Center nurse in charge, Amon Mutonga, says the facility has increased on the infrastructure development at the health center.
It has increased on the infrastructure at the facility. We had a problem of infrastructure. Then also even the room, it has all the rooms according to the standards of a maternity annex. Where we were there, it's just a improvised small room where they deliver from. There's even privacy because it's some distant apart. So we want to thank the government for giving us this maternity annex.
Meanwhile, Muchinga Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Matthews Chilekwa appealed to residents here to safeguard the facility.
We talk about 600,000 plus out of money. And then we have to have something out of it. The initiative is good for the locals here. Yes. Yeah, because very far from here to Mununga there for them to access maternity annexes. I think if they can have one here, this will go a long way and it will help people. Yes, sir. We appreciate the initiative by this community.
The DPS also visited the mourners shelter and mortuary corridor at Impumba Main Hospital, constructed at over 200,000 kwacha under the 2023 CDF. Pamela Inamba reporting for Zanis in Lavushmanda District, Muchinga Province.
And now in Eastern Province, health authorities in Chief Maguya's area in Chipata District have disclosed that they have recorded a reduction in teenage pregnancies between January and July this year compared to what was recorded last year during the same period. And Jerusalem Zonal Rural Health Center midwife in charge, Chimunya Chigaila, says the numbers of teenage pregnancies in the area have reduced to 86 this year compared to 2023, where the catchment area recorded over 100 teenage pregnancies. Here are the details.
The journey to ending teenage pregnancies and child marriages among adolescents in rural areas has taken a lead. In some rural parts of Chipata, statistics have continued to drop, though at a slow pace, a situation that calls for more intervention measures to end the trend.
Tina population y'abantu bonse bana na bakuru 6,425 ne bantu bamene bali mu catchment area. Pali pano bana bachichepere bamene bali na mamimba kuchoka mu January kufika pano tina 86. Age group kuchokera pa 15 kufika pa 19 tina 86. Inamba ni kuru maningi chifukwa babana benangu ni grade 7 benangu ni grade 8 benangu ni grade 9 benangu ni grade 12. So inamba ni kuru maningi as a facility.
I want to bring it to your attention that mwina bana batu ba makala vulnerable monga isa as a secondary school bana batoka mizi yosiana babwera kuno upeza kuti ma boarding houses tilibe chifukwa chosobekera izo vulnerability ipezekapo asati upeza kuti na isenso timakala nayo ma instances.
And Chisomo Community Program under Break Free Project is calling on parents to play a leading role in sensitizing their children.
Nikushita bwanji kusizo mwana wa mwana wametafika pano chipenda utisengane bana watu waende kwa skulu wakaenda kwa skulu mama aibu za dalisa wakashika zile za watatiza kwa moyo wao zameza zitu zabo tatiza chani community yao so tatize kuza bana watu kuti zote ziteka wasishika shortcut.
Chief Maguya says he will see to it that no child is married off or falls pregnant in his chiefdom.
Hali zama ukwataji tebe kubamba pano na ina watu osakumakwati. Osati tileke maskulu chwacho kutukira makwati ya. Ojendeza sewa na skulu kutukwa izi tufanika tilekezi.
Patso Dimbani, Zanis News, in Chipata District, Eastern Province.
And now we go to Northern Province, where the United States government has handed over a solar-powered water reticulation system to Wensday village in Kasama district, constructed at a cost of 6 million kwacha. And Minister of Water Development and Sanitation's Colin Zovu, who officiated at the handover ceremony, has commended USAID for the project, stating that it will help mitigate the effects of the drought that the country is grappling with. And Taunga Nkoma covered the handover in Kasama and gives us more details.
A solar-powered water reticulation project has been constructed in Wensday village in Kasama district with support from the United States government through the USAID. The project, which was constructed at a cost of 6 million, is expected to provide water to over 2,300 people in Wensday village and the surrounding community. Minister of Water Development and Sanitation, Colin Nzovu, has commissioned the project in Kasama.
With the impacts of climate change, which have led to drought conditions in 84 districts across Zambia. This drought has exacerbated water shortages and increased dependence on unsafe water sources. This has led to waterborne diseases like cholera. Let me pay tribute to USAID for providing the Wensday community with access to clean and safe drinking water, helping to mitigate the effects of this crisis. For us as government, this is a direct response to the drought situation.
United States Deputy Chief of Mission in Zambia assured the public of the government's continued support for Zambia.
The U.S. government will continue to be your partner in ensuring that every child gets a healthy start in life so they can learn and grow to be productive members of Zambia's democratic society and growing economy.
Beneficiaries are happy with the project and have promised to take care of the facility.
Allow me also to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the United States government for their unwavering support towards improving the lives of the people of Kasama through projects like this one we are commissioning today. As a commercial utility responsible for water supply and sanitation service provision, we commit to sustaining water supply through adherence to strict maintenance schedules.
Taonga Nkoma for Zanis in Kasama district.
The news continues. An assistant agriculture officer in Kaande camp in Mongu district, Western province, has commended farmers in the area for their advocacy efforts, which have led to the renovation of the agriculture camp house. And Just Lungu expressed gratitude, stating that camp house, which has been in a deplorable state for a long time, has now been transformed after the efforts of the farmers under Action Aid Zambia's Partnership for Social Accountability. Sophia Mangala has the details.
Citizens play a crucial role in demanding for better services, especially where service providers have left gaps. In Kande camp of Mungu district, farmers have been advocating for the renovation of the agriculture camp house in order to access services easily. Their efforts have been paid off, and the renovated house is now complete and ready for occupation. Kande camp assistant agriculture officer Just Lungu has expressed gratitude to the farmers for their advocacy.
This house was renovated because we were facing the challenge, especially with the roof. It was leaking almost in every room. So this time around, the house looks nice and clean, and a very good roofing. It is even encouraging to be in the camp. We thank the project very much for considering us in this aspect.
The farmers who attended a review and planning meeting on social accountability organized by Action Aid Zambia are happy that the Ministry of Agriculture has heard their plea and facilitated the renovation of the house.
Accommodation for the camp officer was not done as to the expectation. As a result, we advocated for that as farmers. Right now, the house has been completed.
Mungu District Farmers Association Programs Officer Muyunda Inyama is impressed with the farmers' achievements.
What we have been able to achieve under this project has been quite impressive, because at least, as you can see, we have managed to advocate for the rehabilitation of the extension officer's house. So that's one of the achievements. And also, I think within Kande we have done a lot in terms of achievement, in terms of the project.
Action Aid Zambia Agriculture and Livelihood Officer on the Partnership for Social Accountability Program, Elias Banda, emphasizes the importance of social accountability.
So we are working in different areas. We focus on building the capacity of young people and smallholder farmers so that they can be able to advocate for different things they want regard to gender responsive services. So basically we build their capacity in different areas, ranging from health issues and also agriculture, so that they can be able to engage duty bearers. So a number of things have been achieved in the project because they've got the capacity now, and they're able to engage duty bearers regarding issues that affect them, and they're able also to join different committees in the communities.
Sifwe Mwangala, Zanis in Mongo District, Western Province.
Now, Conservation Farming Unit Chief Executive Officer Collins Nkatiko has appealed to the Ministry of Green Economy and Environment to advise farmers in advance on the weather forecast for 2024 to 2025 farming season. Mr. Nkatiko says farmers need to be knowledgeable of the anticipated weather patterns so that they prepare adequately for the farming season using appropriate smart climate agriculture techniques. Zanis reports that Mr. Nkatiko explains that the right recommendations for the farmers must be considered in order for the country to meet the target of 10 million metric tons of maize in the next farming season. Ms. Dankatiko has appealed to the Ministry of Agriculture to consider the agronomic recommendations of the Farmer Input Support Program FISUP, which has benefited many farmers across the country. Meanwhile, Ms. Dankatiko has advised farmers countrywide to consider early land preparation using conservation farming, tillage and plant with the first adequate rains.
If the rains are adequate, more than 10 millimeters after 15th November, the season for you has started and you'll be ready to plant. That gives the crop enough time to develop the roots so that even if there's a dry spell, you have a better chance of surviving. My appeal to the Ministry of Agriculture is that let's look at the FISUP combination of inputs that we give. If we are going to answer and address the ambitious target that the President has given for producing 10 million metric tons of maize, we must look at the agronomy that we are recommending to farmers. And the farmers must be informed about the weather forecast well in advance. In fact, by the end of this month, the weather forecast for the coming season must be made public to the farmers because that is already well known. So I'd like to appeal to the Minister of Green Economy to bring forward the ceremony from October to July to advise farmers on how the season looks like in the coming planting season.
In our Southern Province, Minister Credo Nanjua says the government is committed to fostering an environment where diverse voices are heard, perspectives are respected, and collective action is prioritized. Zanis reports that Mr. Nanjua was speaking in a speech read on his behalf by Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Mutiambe during the launch of the Public-Private Dialogue platform with support from the USAID Business Enabling Project, which aims to promote economic growth and social progress in Choma District. We have got more in this report.
The Choma Municipal Council, with support from the USAID Business Enabling Project, has launched the Public-Private Dialogue, which will provide a platform for exchange of investment ideas to improve the economy of Choma District. During the launch, Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua, who was represented by Southern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Yolanta Mutiambe, indicated that the platform will unlock new opportunities for the district.
The Public-Private Dialogue platform will serve as a catalyst for economic development, unlocking new opportunities for businesses, entrepreneurs, and investors. By facilitating open and transparent communication, we will identify and address barriers to growth, streamline processes, and create an enabling environment that encourages innovation and competitiveness. This, in turn, will lead to job creation, increased investment, and improved livelihoods for the people of Choma District.
And USAID Chief of Party Representative wants the public sector and the private sector to work together for sustainability of the district.
This Public-Private Dialogue Forum is something which is starting today and should be a very good foundation for something that is happening, I hope, for a long time. It is a forum that should be here for sustainability of the Choma District, for sustainability of the private and the public sector working together towards a bright future.
And the public and private sector have welcomed the platform.
Private-public dialogue will give us an opportunity to steer development in the direction we choose to take as a people and as a district. With the launch of the PPD, we will open up an avenue for investments tailored to improve the livelihood of all residents in the district.
Of this PPD will bring about proper collaboration between the local authority and the private sector.
Kalunga Msonda, Zanis News, Choma District, Southern Province.
We now take you back to the Copper Belt, where the Ministry of Justice has called on business entities to desist from violating human rights as they run their businesses. And Ministry of Justice Legal Counsel Japhet Chilwa noted that most businesses in Zambia do not respect workers' human rights through actions such as underpaying of workers and non-provision of protective attire, among others. Mr. Chilwa was speaking in Kitwe during a sensitization workshop on business and human rights organized by the Ministry of Justice. Here are the details.
As business begins to improve on the Copperbelt province, the Ministry of Justice and the Human Rights Commission are putting measures to enhance upholding of human rights in workplaces. The two institutions held a sensitization workshop in Kitwe to raise awareness on the need for business entities to respect human rights. And Ministry of Justice Senior Counsel Japhet Chilwa highlights the ministry's observations.
We have people that are working in very dangerous or difficult conditions. They are working in a steel factory, they don't have the safety boots, they don't have the helmets, they don't have those particular safe clothing that they usually put on to ensure that they are protected in terms of what? In terms of their work. Now, on the part of the corporation, for them it might seem it's an expense in terms of providing for those things. But insofar as human rights is concerned, and that's why we are saying, these particular companies, parastatals or industries, they ought to incorporate human rights or have and deliver a policy of how they can be able to integrate business and human rights to ensure that not only business is being looked as the ultimate goal, but equally human rights should be what? Should be protected and be enjoyed by the workers.
The Human Rights Commission pledged to fight abuse of human rights in workplaces, while NGOs want the national policies on human rights and labor to be revisited.
Some time back, the United Nations came up with what we call United Nations Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. These principles set out 3 principles, which is one, the first pillar, in which the state is required to make sure that they see to it that they protect and protect human rights. In this case, we are saying within its territory, it has to see to it that businesses, as they operate, they do not impact on human rights. The second principle, which is the second pillar, it's basically looking at giving these businesses the responsibility to make sure that they do not infringe on people's human rights as they operate.
In the context of human rights and zeroing down to labor rights, especially the Copper Belt, which is dominated by the mining sector, the biggest challenge is to do with some lapses in our policies and our legislative framework.
Protection of workers' rights remains a challenge that can improve the safety and general welfare of workers once strengthened. Liz Ngobeka reporting for Zanis in Kitwe.
And finally, in the news, the Copperbelt Province Permanent Secretary, Augustine Kasongo, says once the enactment of a public sector pay policy, it will help rectify compensation disparities in the public service and prioritize equity, fairness and fiscal responsibility among public officers. Mr. Kasongo says that the policy envisions a public sector where salaries reflect real living conditions and it aligns with the national development objectives. The Permanent Secretary was speaking during a consultative meeting on the formation of the public sector pay policy in Dola. Details of this report.
Stakeholders from the public sector and unions on the Copperbelt province have met to deliberate on the draft public sector pay policy, which was introduced in 2009. The objective of the meeting is to allow stakeholders gather valuable insight and feedback on the draft public sector pay policy.
It's actually to have a consultative meeting with the government employees and people who work in parastatal organization to see the relevance and to refine, design the draft report of the technical committee. So that is our purpose.
To review the pay policy and develop a new one that will take into account the constitution provisions, the provisions of the Emoluments Commission Act number 1 of 2022 and the Emoluments Commission Strategic Plan and 8th National Development Plan, among others.
Copperbelt Province Permanent Secretary Augustine Kasongo officially opened the consultative meeting.
Aims to rectify compensation disparities by prioritizing equality, fairness, and fiscal responsibility. It is envisions a public sector where salaries reflect real living conditions, promote inclusivity, and align with national development objectives. Therefore, as we deliberate to provide input to this valuable document, I wish to encourage all of you to seriously analyze the content and make meaningful contributions to the draft policy so that the final document is beneficial to all the stakeholders of this policy.
Ministry of Finance and National Planning has highlighted some of the benefits of the policy.
The policy should address other aspects of total rewards such as non-monetary benefits, work-life balance initiatives, work-life balance initiatives, flexible work arrangement, comprehensive health care coverage, retirement plans, and opportunities for professional training and development can significantly enhance attractiveness of the public service as a long-term career choice.
Once enacted, the policy will rectify deep-rooted inequalities and inconsistencies in the salaries and conditions of service across state organizations and institutions. Nelly Zanis, Ndola.
Well, that report brings us to the end of the news, and before I finish, we look at the headlines once again. 2,000 miners in Central Province laid off. Government hails donor support to poverty reduction. USAID hands over 6 million kwacha solar water system to Kasama village. Plus, farmers advised to start early preparations. Well, that was all we had for you here at Zanis, and on behalf of the entire production crew, thank you so much for being with us. It has been Margaret Kangwa, and my sign language interpreter has been Imelda Mulea. Stay tuned.